Hello and welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. This is episode number 111 on ebayscavengers.com. Today, Jay and I are interviewing a fellow eBay seller named Susie. She has been able to hire a virtual assistant, someone in another country who is helping her list on eBay.
And it's really interesting because she talks about all the pitfalls and all the problems that she's had trying to find good people to work for her and to train them. So I think she's kind of cracked the code, and you can hear how she did that. So we've been talking for about the last month, and the exciting thing about what we've been talking about is you seem to have solved the secret to hiring a virtual assistant, and that's really like the holy grail for eBayers because no one likes to list. So there's always this dream of, if I could hire someone who could list, my business would be perfect. But kind of before we get to that, what I thought was interesting was you were saying that you were born and raised in the Philippines and that you've always been kind of a scavenger. And I was wondering if you could kind of tell that story.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Philippines. I just migrated here like around 11 years ago through my nursing because they need nurses then. But in the Philippines, there's not really that much of things to scavenge around just because, it's a poor country. And we do like, if we have things, either we have to use it until it's unusable anymore. So I used to remember when I was a kid, when I have clothes, and one day I was like, Mom, where did my clothes go? She kind of disappear. And she was like, oh, I give it to your cousins. You already use it for 2 years. So you just have your favorite dress disappear. I'm just like, oh, yeah. Huh? So next time when my grandma will come again, every year grandma visits us and clothes will disappear because my mom will just package what she wants to bring to my cousins. So basically, with that being in mind, you cannot see any garage sales or thriftstores or secondhand stores. But then I did remember that there were these things they call relief goods. So it came from other better countries, like they're better off than the Philippines. So it comes in like big bales. Like if you look at a bale of haystack that's big, that's how it used to come. And it's like weighing like 25 pounds or more. And there will be people who will be buying it from other countries and bring to the Philippines, supposed to be relief goods, but they're not really relief goods. We're paying for it. So it's either a bale of clothing or a bale of purses or shoes. And so the clothing, that's what I remember, the clothing, the seller would tell us like, okay, tomorrow we're going to open one of these bales, So I would be like, okay, Mom. So we go there. And then once it opens up, people like around the box. Then somebody would open it up and you will see people grabbing left and right. If you can grab it and it's your hands, It's yours. That's how it works. At least we don't like grab from each other, If you grab it there and you was like, oh yeah, this is mine. That's how we do our thrifting there. Other than that, basically we don't have the big stores that America has. And it's amazing what we have
really,
here.
I mean, that's such a cool story. And I really think, like, especially Americans, it's forget because America hasn't always been a rich country. I mean, maybe in the 30s, I hear from our grandparents or great-grandparents it was that way, where everyone used things until they fell apart. And, there wasn't the extra stuff. It seems it was only after, like, World War II when the great prosperity came to America, when now we have all of the stuff we have now.
Yeah, I'm really surprised when I came in. I got hired basically as a nurse. So basically me and my husband and my daughter, she was 8 years old then. And we came with just like 3 suitcases. And then you came to America and I was like, I went to this apartment. I thought, what do I put things on this one? So I started yard sailing. And that's how I got my things, started. And I began to appreciate like Pyrex and all those good stuff. And it's like, we don't have that there. And I was like so amazed at the quality of things people just throw away. I was like, wow.
When you talk to your family back home, did you tell them about the fact that you can just go to places and basically people are throwing away beautiful, expensive items? I mean, it just seems crazy.
Yeah, but you know what? It's hard to picture because it's just like
Yeah.
day and night. It's hard for them to picture what I'm telling them. And I told them, my mom is like, come in here, be a tourist. I can show you around. I'll tell my dad, like, come on, dad, because he likes all these tools and everything. I just plan to give him cash and bring him yard sailing and, get him
Yeah.
surprised because it's just amazing what you'll find. I'm just like so
Yeah.
amazed. It's like when you go to thrift stores and you see these new with tag items that you look at the tag, it's like $280. They don't even use it. I'm just like, okay,
Yep.
it's fine.
Crazy. I mean, we found a pair of sandals at a Goodwill the other week, and we bought them for $2, and they sold for over $100 online. And it's like someone had bought them almost new and just gave them away. They're like, I don't want them.
I know it's amazing. I'm just like, you don't see that anywhere else. Just here in America. I'm here.
Okay, so that being your background, you're definitely like us. We're all scavengers. We're finding this good stuff, and you have an eBay store like everybody else does. But the difference is you've been able to find a virtual assistant, and this means that you found someone that you pay by the hour, I guess, and they help you list the items on eBay. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I'm basically just because after my work the following day I'm really tired. As in tired. Supposed to be my day off. But then I cannot be more productive when I'm really tired to start with. So I just kind of noticed like, okay, I'm taking these pictures and it takes time for me to actually because when I take the pictures, I want my background to be real white. If it's black, I want it to be real black. And so that particular that I take time editing it. I use Photoshop to do that. And I was like, I can have somebody do that for me. I was like, okay, and what should I hire somebody? So I was thinking, let me try, because you know how people tell you, like, if you want to hire somebody, don't hire somebody that's like your relatives or somebody related to you. They're going to mess up with your business. So what I did is, I went online. I heard about Odest and Ilans. So I went to Ilans and just look at the Filipinos there. There's a lot of people in the Philippines looking for whoever's going to hire them. So I put out like some kind of job description, I just like, okay, eBay. I was putting in there that I need somebody to help me with my eBay listing. And of course, I put some there, what needs to be done and stuff. And I got like 28 people applied. I was like, okay, 28. So I started like trying to see which ones I want. And I said, I think I should choose the person that I know because I know 2 dialects. So I should choose the person that I know the dialect with. So I interviewed this person. I said, she's a female. So I interviewed her. Everything went well. So I sent her the things to do. And then I said, the next time we were talking, I was like, why are you a male? I was like, I interviewed a female. I'm just like, why are you the one training? Because I asked for their qualifications and stuff. And you know what he said? He was like, oh, we're a team, and that's what he said. That was his explanation. So I was thinking, that makes sense. Maybe they're really a team. So I actually like teach him how to do. I just did the listing at that time. I did not know the Photoshop the pictures first, which they're kind of more difficult. So I taught him the listing. And then I just give initial, 10 every sets of 10. And then later on, I was like, when we were reaching on the 30, because he's a guy, I don't know, it's just hard to teach him. I was like, okay, where's the female? I thought you're supposed to be a team. And he's the only one like doing it. And I was like, where is she now? The one that I interviewed. And she was like, she's in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. So you know what? I just made him finish the 100 that we agreed upon. And after we finished it, I was like, okay, I just paid him because that was like under Elance.
Right.
You were supposed to give them a certain number of jobs and you agreed on a certain amount. So I just paid him and stuff, and I was like, okay.
So that experience sounds like other experience I've read online, where people go on Elance or these other sites, and they just hire someone for like specific set of tasks. And I've heard the same things. A lot of times, it's difficult to communicate, or it's confusing who you're talking to. But then you actually then started finding people who did help you, right?
Yeah, but that was on the third attempt.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a long story. I was like, well, I did have fun. I had one, so I did another one on the second attempt. But that one, just because I interview a lot of people in Elands, I was like, okay, that was not a good experience. Like somebody you're training or somebody else applied for it. So I asked my husband, do you know somebody that that can help me with this eBay stuff? So he said, oh yeah, my ex-girlfriend. That's what he said.
no.
So I was like, okay, and I happen to know the ex-girlfriend, and she's nice. We were like, okay, let me just teach her. So, oh man, that took forever to teach her. I guess some people just cannot get it. You try to teach
Right.
them online. So she's one of those. She has skills with computer typing and stuff, but it's hard to get it through her. And I was just like, I was so very patient. I'm telling myself, okay, one day she's really going to really learn about it, and I'm going to benefit. And after 3 weeks of okay and stuff, finally she got better. When she got better, and I was like happy with the results, now here comes she opened a business. And I was just like, oh, say bye-bye to my second one. So there goes my
Now
second
that's
one.
interesting because that seems like everyone's nightmare, and it's my nightmare too. If I were to try and hire somebody, I teach them all of my eBay tricks, and then my nightmare is they're going to then go open up their own business because they'll be like, why am I going to work for this other person? I know how to do everything.
Yeah, I know. But this one is not even an eBay business. It means she's just don't have time for me anymore.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's after teaching her and being patient. I was like so patient. I was like, okay, this is my husband's ex-girlfriend. I need to be extra
You're very
patient.
nice.
So no, that was just I'm just like trying to get into this, virtual assistant
Sure.
thing. I said I know I could make it work. So I it's like, okay, let me do virtual assistant number
Mhm.
3. So up to number 3. So I said, okay, honey, that one did not really work well. I was like, your ex-girlfriend, actually, there's another thing going right now. She was like, okay, why don't we just try to hire the cousin? Now, this is the cousin now. This is the one that I'm really
Right.
happy about. So on the third try. So that one, she said, she's a stay-at-home mom.
This is someone in the Philippines, right?
Yes,
Gotcha.
in the Philippines. All 3 people in the Philippines. So this one is a stay-at-home mom, and the husband actually does some stuff on the internet, like Odas and Elans, but on a different way. So they're not doing eBay or stuff. So I was like, I think I'm just going to teach the wife. At least the husband can guide her what to do, because she does not have much of an experience and stuff. So I thought her, and with the teaching that I did, it took me like at least 2 weeks, and I was happy after that. It just like does not take a lot of time anymore. And that's with the listing. I have to teach her how to, the important part is to teach them how to do the title, just because, I told her if the title is not this good, nobody will find my item. And so I have to tell her the basics about that one. So right, I'm now happy with her. But then there's a then. She got pregnant, give birth, and now her time is not as much as she can give to me. From me getting all these listings and stuff for the last 6 months, and I am down to just a few hours with her. That was the main reason why I said, well, I'm going back to the Philippines. I have to hire somebody, a lot. I want a pool of people that can work. When I say I want this 24 hour for it to come back to me and all done, then I want people to say, oh yeah, I'm available today. That's my plan. I'm just going to train like 10 people or 15 perhaps. So that will be this December, this September when I get home.
I want to ask about that, but first let's back up, because I do have a couple of questions. So in the Philippines, do many people know about eBay, or do people buy and sell on eBay?
Oh, not much. The people that are able to sell on eBay, because you know what I said, there's really not much of, thrift store or anything like that. But the one that I told you about from the other country that comes in bales and packages, those people that are doing that kind of business there, they're the ones that have those items that they're selling on eBay. So now, aside from from having it accessible to the people around them. And then they just like selected the best ones. And that's the one that they've been selling on eBay. So there's not really a lot of people that's interested on eBay in the Philippines right now, just because of the lack of access to the stuff
Right.
that wants
Plus,
to
I
have
was
here.
reading that a place like the Philippines, people don't really have like a credit card, right? So that's not as common to buy on credit card.
No, it's not. Credit card is not common. We
Right.
pay cash.
Okay, cash is
Yeah.
good, cash money. But so then, when you talk with your virtual assistant, what are your main methods of communication?
So basically during the training period, I just I use Skype, and I made sure that they have an extra camera. So in case I try to tell them, like when I did the Photoshop stuff and she doesn't know where it is, I said, okay, show me show me your Photoshop to the camera, and I have to tell her where to click. So that's how I did. We did with this one, the Skype, and then the second part is we also communicated through Messenger. I still like Yahoo Messenger, so that's what I'm using, and also through email. So I use all three.
So you're actually able to, through Skype, to be able to share her screen and look at her computer screen and show her things on her screen?
Yeah, that's how I did it, because basically when I thought her things to do, she's basically don't know. She has not listed on eBay before, and then she has not used Photoshop before. So I have to teach her the basics
That's
of
a lot of
everything.
teaching.
I give you a lot of credit because that's, teaching a lot of basic computer skills. So that's amazing.
Yeah, there goes my 3 weeks vacation from my job. That's what I did during these 3 weeks. I was just like finding myself a virtual assistant. But it did work. But I said, well, say goodbye to my vacation.
Well, so then, can you then explain your process of buying items? It's photographing and a listing. What part does your virtual assistant do in that process?
Oh, yeah, the buying part, of course, is mine, and the inventory part is mine, but I'm trying to solve that inventory part someday, give to another virtual assistant. But with respect to the picture taking, I do take the pictures, but then I send it to them, and they're the ones who's going to do the Photoshop. So it needs to be cropped, and then, we have to crop it, and then we need also to make sure that the background is white or white. I don't want any shadows. I am that crazy about my pictures. And then also the black should be entirely black. I don't want any gray areas. So they're the ones doing that. And of course, since I do spend a lot of time and I pay them for it, so I made them do the watermark. So in case somebody wants to use my picture on eBay, they will see it's my story. It's in the picture itself.
Where do you upload your photos? Is it like a shared folder somewhere, like Dropbox or Google Drive or?
Oh, yeah, the photos that I send to them in bulk, you have to make sure that they have you FTP it to them. So that way they don't load it. But when the virtual assistant uploads it, since I use Seller Sourcebook, then they're going to upload the finished pictures through Seller Sourcebook. So it's there. It's accessible for listing. That's how we do with the picture part. We did with the listing, that one I just write. I'm pretty much, faster when I write them. So I just write. I have a template that I printed, and then I write it, and whatever I write there, I just have it scanned and sent to them. And since I already teach this VA how to make the title, the way I want it, then she will just look at the stuff that I send, and she makes the listing through that one.
So I understand correctly. So you're writing the description of the items, but they do the titles?
Yeah. So because if you look at my store, which I'll show you later, if you look at my store, basically it's clothing. And with clothing, pretty much you can get the title from the tag of the clothing itself, because it shows what clothes it is. It shows the size. Because I take a picture of that one. So that's how I have jeans. I have a template for jeans. So basically when I just put a simple something there that says rehim or something, then they know that they need to put that in the title. Because I tell them if there's any defect, I want it to appear in my title. I don't want people, people buying and having problems later. So I just teach them that I want first in the listing, I want my stock number. I do have a stock, all my stocks, because jeans look the same. If you have 500 jeans, they look the same. Everything looks the same. So they come with stock number. So that's what I want them to put in the stock number, and then the brand, and then the size. So they know how to, and I tell them after the size, you're going to put the color. After the color, you're going to put if it's a men's or a women's. So they have a process to follow. So that's how it's kind of simpler for them to do it that way, rather than think out of a title without a guide.
So this is probably possible because is most of your inventory kind of the same, like either jeans or women's clothes? I mean, it's not like weird antiques or anything, right?
Yes, that's what it is. Because there's, you can actually simplify the process because it's almost the same. You just very simple variations from one to the other. It's almost the same. So it was easier to teach them that way.
And also, I found interesting because I didn't know this. So you're using a piece of software. So your virtual assistant doesn't have access to your eBay store. They aren't writing it right in eBay. They're doing it through another piece of software, right?
Yes, that's how I use my seller source book.
So it's called what?
Seller source book?
Yeah, seller source book. I use that one because I don't want them to be able to see how much I'm earning.
Right, of course.
That I'm paying this much. So how much I'm earning or whatever. I don't want them to see any of those stuff or how many items I have in my store. I don't want them to see those because, you don't know what can get on people's head. So I just have them with seller source book and, they list it themselves. And when it comes back to me, because I make them schedule it. So in through seller source book, you're able to schedule stuff. So when they schedule, it comes back to me. I'll just do a quick scan, look at the title and stuff, just a quick scan. And they say it's go. I just launch it.
Cool.
That's it.
And so how many items can she put up each week?
That one depends on my availability. Okay. Whatever I output to her is before this baby came, I told you about her giving birth. Before that one. So basically I could give her 70 items she can do. And that was before we did a picture that was pretty straight. She was the one doing the listing. So when I made her do the picture, so it tapered down to around 50 because she has to do the pictures too. And also right now, since I'm working 4 days a week, we're having overtime. We're forced to now. Then whatever much I can give her, that's the one that she can finish for me. But on my part, I am still able to double, or triple my effort because somebody's doing the other half of the listing. You know what I mean?
So to be clear to people hearing this, the reason why this is so awesome is because you basically work a full-time job already, and so but you also do a good eBay store, and she can help you have a lot of items in your store.
Yeah, and that's how I bounced because I told you last September last year, this is the time when I had my vacation. I was doing this VA stuff, and I could never get over 700. And I've been I just started 2012. Then 2013, but then I've been 600, 700 something sales. It's back to 600, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I did my virtual assistant. And September to now, I can I'm around 1,270 going to 1,300. So I was able to get up that much with somebody helping some of the stuff.
I'm sure there are eBay people right now hearing this just drooling because they wish they could find someone to help them do that. Because everyone can find good items. You go out, you can get a carload of stuff. The problem is it just takes a long time to put it online. And so that's really awesome.
Yeah, it does. And plus with clothing, you need to make yours look good too for you to be able to get a good price.
So before she had the baby and when things were going well, how many hours did she work for you?
I don't count by the hours though.
Okay.
Basically it's her output. she'll be able to list for me with the pictures. It's like between 40 to 70, depending on my availability. Usually, when we were doing good, we're looking around 60, 70
Every week.
items. Yes, every week. And that was with with her doing the pictures and stuff. She's pretty much doing pretty good with it because, being a stay-at-home mom and she has just one kid, that was doing pretty well up until now. So yeah, that's the problem with virtual assistant. I said I need to have a backup plan. I need to have like others waiting for jobs,
Now,
Yeah,
I don't expect you to tell us how much you pay her, but I mean, is it affordable? I mean, does the math work out for her doing that many listings a week? Can you sell enough to pay her and still make a profit?
Oh yeah, it's very affordable because I don't pay them by the hour. I said I pay them by their effort, like by per piece. Like because in the Philippines, that's why I kind of mentioned before to you, not on this one, but in the Philippines, we're actually allowed to have piece rate workers. I try to avoid having hourly worker because I don't want to be like trying to figure out how many hours did this person work for me today. Was he working for me or twiddling their fingers or what? I don't know. I don't want that in my. That's stressful. So I was like, we had an agreement. You produce something like every picture that they Photoshop on a set or every listing that you will make, then that's the one I'm going to pay. And it worked out pretty well. And I did tell you the regular pay for virtual assistant runs in the $200, $225 per month. That considering what is actually the pay rate in the Philippines, not American pay structure, but the Philippine that's required by law, that's usually around that range. So with her doing my piece rate and stuff, so she can either go over, it's up to her. I'm just like giving her this opportunity to be able to earn this much or not this much. Because sometimes I have to do things by myself. If she's a little bit slow, then I have to make sure I'm listing today. Otherwise, things will not sell. So I kind of just supplemented some of that one with what she can do. With the pay structure that we did, I'm happy. I got what I need, and she's happy. She got a payment that she did. So I think it works for us. I just don't want to be like looking at softwares, looking at how many hours she's doing and whatever. I don't want that.
I mean, I think that's why so much work has been, sent offshore or out of America is because, in these other countries, the kind of money that people are willing to pay, it's still a lot of money to them in that culture.
Yes, it is. Just because of the exchange rates. And I know how it is there because I've been there. Because it makes it more sense for me to have somebody helping me there than here. Because I cannot afford it if everybody, when I do that virtual, somebody did apply from the USA for me to pay them. I was like, really? I'm looking for somebody in the Philippines just because of the difference in pay and in the cost of living.
Now, do you pay them just through PayPal or through a Western Union, or how do you pay somebody overseas?
Well, the first ones that I did ask for the Western Union, but I said no. I want to be able to trace where my money goes and it's connected to my business. So I pay them with PayPal. So I made sure that they're able to do the PayPal thing because it does take a lot of work for them to do that. They have to make sure they have a bank account that's really receiving PayPal because not all banks do that in the Philippines. Yeah, so I had that established first, even before I give them something to do. When all those three of them, I made sure, okay, before I give you a project, we call it per project, I need to make sure you have your PayPal up and ready.
When things were going well with your virtual assistant, was she doing all the listing, or did you also do it as well?
I do very minimal listing. When I pretty much just like send it and wake up the following day and I see like, oh yeah, finished 20 listings, That's pretty much what I do. Every time I wake up, the first thing I check is my seller source book. I check on that thing there that says scheduled listing. And there it is.
So it's a real thing. You're really going to go back to the Philippines like on its vacation and try and find some people in person and try and train a group of people to be your assistants?
Yes,
Wow.
that's my plan. I want to, when I go there, I'm just going to teach them at the same time. You're like, like having a class. That's what my plan is. So we're just going to rent a certain place that can do audiovisual. And I have like these 15 people sitting right there looking. And so I just teach them at one time. And I'll choose who's the best. Maybe there's 6, 7, or 10 that come out that's better than the others. So that's the one I just want somebody to give me a 24-hour turnaround.
Of course. Yeah.
If I upload it, it comes back to me the following day and it's all done, and I'll just list it on eBay. And I'm going to do that hopefully in the future. And that's why I said once I got this pool of virtual assistants over there, then I could start hiring people to help me with photographs or whatever that needs to be done here.
So awesome. I mean, are these going to be friends or a family, or have you figured out who these people are going to be?
Oh, I just put out in the radio.
Wow.
You just have announcements there. It's not that expensive.
I'm telling you, people are listening to this, Americans who have eBay stores, and they're like, who is this lady? She should run a business. I want to hire a virtual assistant. She can train them and let me hire them.
And a specific eBay virtual assistant. That's the key for us, is we haven't found a company that can understand how to do it.
You could start a whole business doing this.
Yeah, I just because that's my dilemma, When I wake up in the morning, I don't see something there that's scheduled for listing, I'm just like, okay, what happened to I gave it the other day. So you expect it to be done sometimes. And, the problem with the Philippines is we do have blackout days there. And blackout days means 8 hours, 12 hours without electricity. And that's one of those problems. Sometimes it does happen, and not even sometimes, oftentimes during summer. So I'm just like, I don't want to be limited by the limitation of one person. Only having one virtual assistant, it does limit me here. And that's why I said I might as well train a lot of them and see who's the one that's doing pretty well.
Now, is your goal, because right now you work as a nurse full time, is your goal to stop being a nurse and just do eBay?
Yeah, hopefully. I want to transition first. Transition to doing part-time, because nurses can just work anywhere. I just want to transition part-time, and if everything works well, then I might as well just stop doing, nursing and do eBay and go vacation in the Philippines.
I mean, exactly. That's awesome, because it'd be like you go and it's vacation and visit family, but it's also work. It's also, you're doing a job.
And it's amazing to say, like, wow, the opportunities here are amazing. Yeah. And just like, you just have to do something, Once you do something and aim for something, you're going to get it.
We love to take trips, so maybe we should take a trip with you to the Philippines, and we can find a...
Yes, one of these days.
Yep. Cool. Do you think it's really important, the fact that you're able to speak a language? I mean, would it be harder to be someone that only speaks English trying to train someone in the Philippines?
If you believe it or not, when I interview these people, I speak English. I said, like, they were like, Mom, couldn't we speak in our own language? I was like, no, you're not going to be listening to eBay in our own language. I need to make sure you're proficient enough, So you were like, I interviewed them like all English. Doesn't matter with the accent and everything. I said, you have to speak to me straight in English, or I should know you're able to do it. You know what? I never even get to use my dialect. I know 2 of them. Just like interview them through English, so at least you will know. There's the problem with some problems with with trying to communicate with them is they understand my accent. But if you're looking at an American and a Filipino, sometimes some Filipinos could not get American accent, So it sounds different to them, and so that would be one of the barriers, actually.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. This is like...
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm telling you, when we put this podcast up, please look at the comments, because people are going to have a lot of questions about this. So I hope that you'll help answer them.
Yeah, so, well, I'm glad to be of help. with my experience.
Well, great. Well, have a great day off, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay, Jay
Okay.
and Ryan.
Thanks.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.